What up, guys? Welcome to the weekly market outlook. Today's session, we're basically gonna look at some few pairs and our thought process behind what we think will happen this week and all of that. And also, we will just take a look at some pairs that we looked at last week and how they played out. All right. So to begin with, we're gonna start with DXY. All right. So let's just begin right here on the weekly time frame. This DXY, you can clearly see we are just on a downtrend. Last week, price was just trading around these areas, but we were looking at this low, to at least hold this price if there could be any reversal. But that's not what happened. The market actually dropped, just, respecting the fact that we're on a downtrend. It's a solid low. We pulled back right here. We broke all these lows, and then price is basically trying to push to the downside. So since that's the case, we're just going to focus on the downtrend because that's the direction of the market. So this is a weekly time frame for you. Let's go to the daily time frame. So this is the daily time frame as well. And yes, obviously pretty much the same thing. We are just breaking lows right here. It's a break of structure right here, break of structure, pullback, break of structure, pullback, break of structure. So literally we are just, breaking structures and pulling back. This is the current leg. So we also just have to wait for price to at least give us a pullback if we're going to wait or be looking for selling opportunities as well. So we can look at this area for price to at least pull back to this zone and then push to the downside, or we can also just look at the supply zone. But hey, when it comes to pullbacks, you don't want to just, anticipate just one level, right? Pullbacks, something I always talk about, that we will never know where price will pull back to. So if there's a downtrend, lower low, lower high, lower low, price can literally give us a low pullback and drop. We could have a medium pullback, that is price pulling back to the previous level of support as resistance, or we can even have a deep pullback. Because if you understand market structure, as long as this high is not being broken, this is still a downtrend. So if you look at this structure, as long as this high is not being taken out, we are still on a downtrend. So all we have to do is literally be very, very patient, wait for some sort of pullback, and then we get in for selling opportunity. So let's go to the 4H as well. It's very clear right here. If you look at the market structure, last week somewhere here we had price just approaching this level correctively with this pattern right here. There's a reversal pattern. We had the first touch, second touch, third touch. We had a break of structure. We had a nice correction. We also swept these lows, and then we currently have a break. So right now, as it stands, we are just having this consolidation, and we just have to be very patient. Since today is just Monday, we're gonna wait for a little bit of correction. If this gives us a continuation pattern, then obviously we can be looking to take this kind of trade to the downside. All right, so it's pretty much simple with DXY going forward this week. We're on a downtrend, so that's where our focus is gonna be. In that same analysis, we're just gonna look at Euro USD. As you know, it's just the opposite of DXY. Whatever is happening on DXY, once you flip the chart, you're gonna see the same thing on Euro USD. So on Euro USD, pretty much is the same. We are just on an uptrend. And last week, we made a forecast on our live analysis where we were looking at this high right here, right? We spoke about the fact that price was just moving very correctively. If you look at the price action here, we're just moving very corrective towards this level. So there were two things that we're looking at. It's either price is going to just break down or just break to the upside, right? So we were sitting right here. If you look at our live analysis, we were right here. And then I spoke about the fact that if you adjust the trend line, this was it. I spoke about the fact that, yes, we're on a trend line. The only time you'll be looking for selling opportunities is when we break below this level, at least break some structures, wait for pullbacks, and then we'll be looking for selling opportunities. But for the buying opportunities, this could be a continuation pattern, and that's exactly what the market did. So we broke up, we had a pullback, and then this could have been an entry confirmation as well to just take this market to the upside. So that was last week. This week, nothing has really changed. We just had a clear break of structure to the upside. We broke the structure as well. So we're pretty much on an uptrend. There's a very impulsive move, and then we are just stuck in this choppy price action. So all what we have to do right now is pretty much just wait for the correction to play out, as I spoke about on DXY, right? We are very choppy right here, right? So we just want to break out of this zone. Price could just, chop a little bit like that and even just shoot to the downside. We test this level before going to the upside. Or we could have, massive chops right here, somewhere, something like that. Then obviously just break above, and then we're looking for buying opportunity. So it's still Monday, no rush. Just be very patient with the market. And let's see the price action that will shape up for us. All right, let's take a look at this pair as well. This is GBP USD, and it's pretty much simple as well. You will start on the daily time frame. We are clearly on an uptrend. As you can see, we are breaking highs. There's a higher high, higher low. We broke this high, higher low, higher low. And then currently we have a breakout structure. So we have an impulsive move. There's the low, there's the high. This is the range within which we are looking at price action. All right. So since we have an impulsive move, what we want to do is we want to wait for a pullback, because when we are buying, we don't want to buy at the highs. We always want to buy at the lows. So with that being said, we're going to wait for a pullback, and then we're going to capitalize on the move going to the upside. If that's going to be the case, before I even move on, I just want to let you know this is not financial advice. This is just analysis. As I always say, it's just our thought process behind what we think will happen on the market. So looking at the 4H time frame, I can clearly see a correction, right? We have this strong impulsive move. We had a correction right here, impulsive move, and then we are currently correcting. So that is something that we should be excited about, knowing that price is giving us an opportunity for us to scale in if only we're going to trade to the upside. All right. So we have some areas within which we can probably expect price to come to. For example, this area was a resistance as well. Does that mean price will come all the way to this level? Nobody can tell that. But what we have to do is to focus on price action. This is a correction move. So we just have to wait for the correction to end or complete. And then we wait for the change of character or change of structure to the upside. And then, we start looking for buying opportunities. So if you look at this, creating higher highs and higher lows, we chopped a little bit. We broke this low, lower high, and currently price is creating lower lows and lower highs. So for buying opportunities, what you want to do is you want to wait for this lower low, lower high structure to shift to at least start breaking highs. That is when we'll be looking for buying opportunities. All right. So that is the case right now. We just want to be very patient and then wait for that structure to shift. And then we can now be looking for buying opportunities to the upside. All right, this is a very strong impulsive move. As you can see, the same thing happened right here. Right, if I go down the lower time frame, such as the 15-minute, you will see the same structure that I just drew right here. Right, so with this trade, the best thing was to just wait for the shift to the upside, and then we look for buying opportunities. All right, so it's not really about waiting for price to tap on resistance or support. Price may probably not even get here, but the fact that we are shifting structures where this could be a reason for us to get in for buying opportunities. Let's quickly look at gold as well. So with gold, I've been speaking about this pair on our live analysis for a while now. You can go and check it out, what I've been talking about. But this is a level that I've spoke about pretty much, because this level, we had price rejecting, and then we had no candle closing above this level for number of weeks, right? So there's a first week, second week, third week, fourth week, fifth week, sixth, seventh. So for 7 weeks straight, we were just rejecting below that level until we had a break above it. Then we had a pullback right above this level. So going forward, our analysis was probably we could expect price to continue trading to the upside, but that's not what price did. Price just broke back into the level that we have been looking at. Let's see what price did below this level, right? Before we even do that, if you look at the weekly time frame as well, you can clearly see that we've been ranging right here. It's a very strong range. Price has, it's been like over 10, 11 weeks of price being stuck in this zone. Let's take a look at how that will play out on the daily time frame. So if you look at the daily time frame, let me take this off. All right, pretty much the same thing. So last week we had price just creating higher highs, right? We had a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high towards this previous resistance, right? So since we were just on an uptrend, we were just looking for buying opportunities. We had a pullback, expecting price to push to the upside, but that's not what price did. Price has now, broken the previous low, which means that this structure has shifted from an uptrend on a daily time frame, higher high, higher low, right? Currently, we are breaking this low, so there's a lower low now, and this means that the trend has shifted. So we also need to shift our direction as looking for buying opportunities to now looking for selling opportunities. So I'm gonna go down on the 4H as well, and then we'll take a look at this level right here. So if you look at this zone or this line that I've drawn, the resistance on weekly, whenever we are below it, it's a resistance. Resistance, right? Even right here, we had a break, retest, and then a drop. Resistance right here, right? Price bounced on this as support. It bounced on this as support. We pushed the upside. So you can see there's a level that has been respected. So anytime we break below this level, what we want to be looking for is selling opportunities. And that is exactly what the market did last week. Last week, we had a break below this. Then this would have been a neat or a beautiful trade because we had an impulsive break, correction, and then we had a strong move to the downside. This was a very simple price action. So this is pretty much the previous higher low on the daily time frame that has been broken currently, right? This shows that the trend has shifted. So as it stands, we are just retesting this level that just got broken. So we are clearly on a downtrend. We have an impulsive move. We are clearly on a downtrend, right? So we are correcting. What we have to do is, again, wait for the correction to shape up, right? The fact that we pulled back to this level doesn't mean we need to buy. We need more confirmation. So it could be, proper structures, for us to obviously wait for the shift and then we get in selling opportunities and all of that. But until then, we just have to be very patient. All right. For proper entry, you want to get like multiple confluences. All right. It could be candlestick patterns, it could be chart patterns. This is just the trend, this is the direction of the market. We need better confirmation. So we're just gonna wait and pretty much, anticipate that price is gonna give us a structure that will alert us that hey, it's time for us to go down. Until then, we will just be very patient and allow the market to do whatever it has to do. No confirmation, no trade. That is how we want to flow. Let's take a look at GBP, JPY. So this is going to be our last pair. With GJ on the weekly time frame, where are we trading? This is something you always want to do. You want to look to the left and then see where price is trading at. So if you look to our left, this is a very strong level of resistance, right? Resistance in the past, resistance in the past. And the fact that there's a weekly time frame, it makes the resistance very strong, right? If this was on the 1 minute time frame, would have been like, it's just 1 minute, but 1 week, it's a very solid resistance. So are we gonna see, price dropping right here, or we're gonna get price breaking above? That is something that we need to ask ourselves, right? So we have identified an area of value. Now, what price is doing at that area of value is what matters. Okay. So going down on the daily time frame, pretty much just on an uptrend, creating higher highs and higher lows as usual. So nothing really has changed. Let's go to the 4H as well. On the 4H is where things, it's very interesting right here because we have a higher high, higher low. There's a higher high, higher low. Price just corrected right here, or we chopped a little bit and then we had a drop. So as it stands, of course, we are still on an uptrend because the previous low has not been broken, right? So for this time frame, if we get a break right here, then obviously we'll be looking for selling opportunities going to the downside because the structure has been shifted. But until then, we are still looking, not really looking to buy, but we are still on an uptrend. That is the right word, right? So this is a zone that we have to be very careful of, right? What is price going to do here, right? Just say the same thing I explained. If we have a resistance or a support, the main thing that we have to look out for is what price is doing there. For example, if you look at this zone that I just drew, let's go to the 1H and see what price did right here. All right, that is the main thing. On the 4H, you can see we're just chopping or price was just correcting there. But on the 1H, we can call this a double top structure because we have the first top, second top. So seeing this below a level, a level of resistance, it makes this valid for us to be looking for selling opportunities. That is pretty much what I can see. So even within this double top, I can see pattern within pattern as well. There's a first touch, second touch, third touch, and this is a rising wedge pattern, which indicates that price is going to drop. And that's exactly what price has done. Currently, where we are trading at, yes, we are in a good spot as well. So we just have to be very patient and see what price will do here as well on the lower time frames, on the 30 minutes, 15 minutes. If we get a very choppy price action, which indicates that price is going to break to the upside, then obviously means that this low is going to be protected. Then we can expect price to go up. But if that doesn't happen and then we break below this, then we can also expect price to pull back, and then we can get in for a move to the upside. All right. So with US oil, something really happened that we had a very massive drop on US oil. And I think it's as a result of, the war that was happening, because oil prices started shooting up. And then when the fire ceased, we saw prices dropping massively like that, right? But this is a pair. This is exactly what, we spoke about. I remember when price was trading somewhere here, we spoke about the fact that we have the lower low, the double bottom structures right here, right? We correlated it with this low. And then we spoke about the fact that we have this double bottom structure right here. And with double bottom, what you want to do in terms of taking profit is you want to measure, the first bottom, second bottom. You want to measure from the bottom to the neckline, and then you bring it somewhere here once we get a break. So this is where you're going to take profit. That's exactly what we did around this zone. So just take a look at what the market did. Right. So we spoke about this when price was somewhere here, that we're expecting price to at least push to the upside. And then when we get here, we can see a drop, knowing that, we correlated that with the trend line as well. So if you take a look at this trend line on the weekly, somewhere here. So we had the first touch, the second touch, and the third touch. This is what I spoke about last week with the third touches, like the first and second touch. Go back to that video and then watch and learn something from it. I spoke about the fact that the third touch is always a sensitive level, right? So when we get a first touch, price shoots to the downside, get a second touch, and then you draw this, and then, you see price approaching the third touch. You have to, look out for what price will do there. And that's exactly what price did. So we go to the third touch level, and then we had a very, very massive, massive drop. Even with the third touch level, you can spot this kind of price action where we had this high, right? There's a resistance, price dropped, we started moving impulsively, and then going forward, we had a correction move to the upside. This is also a rising wedge pattern in the market, which indicates that price is going to drop. There were so many confirmations just to combine with identifying price dropping at this level. First touch, second touch, third touch on the weekly time frame. We had this double top with the rising wedge pattern approaching that high. And then even right here, if I should draw this trend line properly, you will see that yes, we also had this first touch right here. We had this second touch, and exactly at the third touch, we had a massive sell to the downside. So the third touch pattern, or the third touch theory that I spoke about on last week's live, is very powerful. You can go back to that live and then, learn something from it. So currently we have a massive drop. And then what I can also see is the fact that we are also trading below this strong level of support, right? So this was a support levels, and then price has broken below that level, right? Impulsively, that is what you need to understand. So we have this impulsive break, and currently price is correcting. What we can also expect, if that's going to be the case on the lower time frame, we can get this entry on the 15 minutes or even on the 30 minutes, right? If we get any indication that price is going to drop, obviously that will be on the 15 minutes. So let's take a look at it. What I can see is price is still correcting, right? So here on the 1 hour time frame, what I will personally wait for is price to at least push to the upside to give us a third touch, which will even correlate with this high somewhere here. All right. So if we get here and then we scale down to lower time frames and we get any pattern, it depends on how we get here. If we get double top pattern, head and shoulder pattern, rising wedge pattern, whatever, then this will be a trade that will also take to the downside. All right. So guys, this is just our forecast, and I hope you also learned something from the breakdown. Do well to smash the like button, subscribe, because of bringing you this kind of content so that you can level up and scale up when it comes to your trading journey. All right. Take care. It's Ike the Greatest. Peace.